Idiots can't be wrong, can they? Today's show is action-packed, so buckle up and let's dive into it.
Cut out the jibber-jabber. Don't be babbling like a fool. Say what you got to say. That's all. Then shut your dang pie hole.
Well, the Jim Jones Juice. Yep, the Jim Jones Juice is paying us big money to put their product on here. So we're going to totally tell everyone, yeah, you need that stuff, right? Not going to happen. Welcome to the Free For All Friday, folks. It is Friday. It is the Free For All. And it's been one hell of a week. We got all kinds of garbage to talk about. It is the Q&A with the monologue. But instead of separating the two, segregating is what they used to call it, we're going to integrate it. That means I'm going to say, hey, Jolene, give me their questions, their comments, because you guys have a lot to talk about. You got the whole week. You don't have to talk about just what happened today. You can talk about what happened anytime this week. Hell, you can talk about what happened last month for all I give a shit. Or if you got a prediction for next month, next year, if you got a prediction for the next decade, if you want to play Stump the John with Tell a Lie, Tell a Truth, let's have some fun with this, folks. It's the end of the week. We're alive. The fuckers didn't manage to kill us yet, right? That's cause celeb right there. We can celebrate that all day long. Anyways, I couldn't help it. I had to pull out the old Jim Jones Juice, fully juice-nated commercial. And I want to thank Mr. T again for putting out all the effort to make this as fun as possible, make this as satirical as possible. All of you guys, your attitudes are the right attitude to have. Be serious about the content, but have an open mind, try to keep a sense of humor, and keep pushing to fill your mind with knowledge. Folks, it is food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, along with the plan, and you can't plan unless you know what the hell is going on. Now, the week has ended. That's right. The Dow Jones is down at the end of the week for 8 consecutive weeks. Yeah, this hasn't happened in 90 freaking years. What was 90 years ago? 90 years ago was 1932. 1932, but John, the stock market crash was in 1929. Well, they had a crash there, but it continued for 3 freaking years, basically. We're in it, folks. We're in it. I hope you don't own Amazon, Netflix, Apple, Google. I hope you don't own that stuff. And by the way, yeah, Tesla, woo, they're having some troubles too. Don't worry though. Elon still has FU money. We're going to talk about that as well. But yeah, the market is really taking a huge dump, right? And you better hope they've got good quality paper because there's a lot of wiping going on there. Not just the bunghole, but a lot of tears too that need to be soaked up. So here we go. Now, another study came out, folks. You know, we love the science here on the Prepared Mind channel. We follow the science. No, I'm not going to put on the science promo. Don't worry. Because I did the long, fully juicinated commercial. I figured I'd spare you on the science. But yeah, follow the science. Another scientific study has come out confirming that wearing masks increases your susceptibility to a cerveza bug. In fact, the death rate amongst those who mask and those who didn't, it is significantly higher. Because I think once you get sick, if you continue to breathe your own slobber and exhale, yikes, and yikes. Just unbelievable. Yeah, we're in big trouble, folks. Now, let's do this. Bam, Jolene, who do we have up? Do we want to stuff someone on the board right away? I'll make you famous. You bet. We got Sean Smith. He says, Hey, it's John, Semper Fi, and Semper Fi to all of you, all of America, the world, always faithful. It's about freedom and liberty. It's not about entitlements and regulation and all-powerful government. No, no, it's about freedom and liberty, and protecting those things is sacred. So, Sean Smith says, on the news this morning, I saw a paralyzed race car driver with a computer chip in his brain wearing a special helmet that allows him to drive the car with his mind. Your thoughts? That is incredible, valuable, amazing, good technology. Because in this case, with the race car driver, it is helping him be who he is, or she is. I don't know what man. It's helping that person interact with the world using mind power. That's the good part. There are good parts of this technology. Another example was Rush Limbaugh was having some sort of hearing brain problem. It's like, holy cow. Apparently, it turns out, Rush Limbaugh was wearing face masks on his ears. They're called, earphones. That's why I don't like to wear them and wear the little headset, help me, Obi-Wan. No, right? You got some kind of disease in his ear. Who knew, right? Anyways, you got a colloquial implant. You got a brain implant that helped him hear, right? And very, very powerful, interesting stuff. I know that El Rushbo ended up dying, and while I didn't agree with his politics 100%, I don't think he was about freedom enough, right? Good guy, though. Paved the way for you and me to talk on this channel. I spent years going, man, if I could just get up and improvise like Rush and just talk about any freaking topic on the planet, then I could say I was more intelligent than the average bear. Anyways, Sean, that's great that this driver has that. Now, here's the downside. Yes, there's a dark side of the Schwartz, right? The downside is that can be used for evil. Evil. And I'm not trying to do a Joe Biden. I was adjusting the camera. If the mind can control a little computer that controls things in the outside world, right? There's a link between the mind and computers on the outside. Can that computer also send messages into the brain? Can it program the person? Can it punish the person, right? So imagine this. I've got a brain implant. I've got the greatest, coolest Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, George Soros, Democrat implant. And that implant, through a connection with the outer world, monitors what I'm doing. It's like, hey, John is in a big green truck and he's going a little too fast. Oh, he's in a neighborhood where he ought not to be. Let's just shut him down, right? Give me a twitch in the eye and a little electric zap. Punish me. Maybe just cut off all of my motor control so I become a paraplegic, right? Cop shows up, opens the door, says, you dumbass, you're not supposed to be here. You're going back to jail, right? And I've never been to jail, folks. Never worn the shiny stainless steel bracelets applied by a cop. Never done that. Don't want to either, right? But yeah, they can do that. I'm sure they'll have that ability. Do I want one? Hell no. Right? Do I want my brain connected to the internet? If I want to talk to the internet, I'll pick up a cell phone, right? Turn it on, go online with it, and then ask some questions. I don't need to instantaneously know stuff I don't know. As it is, this brain right here is hardwired with a good stuff. Great topic, Sean. Is this coming? It's here. The technology's developed. The other technology they have developed you need to worry about is the Jim Jones juice. The other technology you have to worry about is hypersonic weaponry, drone flying robots, self-directing. In other words, autonomous robots that they can put a gun in its hand and say, go get the people that we don't like. And then give it a list with names and addresses, kind of like a Terminator. You know, that kind of stuff bothers the hell out of me. Not happy about that. Good for this driver, bad for the rest of the world, because not that it doesn't do good things, but that it will be abused. All power is always abused when a government assumes it is sovereign, master of its people. Sadly, that's the world we live in right now, in my opinion. That's why we must be prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Great topic, Sean. Thank you very, very much. And now let's get into it. Let's have some nasty talk here. Oh, it's going to get dirty. Everyone, kids, close your ears, right? Ladies, cover your eyes. Russia announces new military units on its western border near Finland. All right. The increase in tensions between Russia and NATO increase as NATO, the United Kingdom, the United States, and the European Union all play this game to increase NATO membership. And also they want to malign Russia for to make it worse and worse and harder for them. And they have done this since the fall of the Soviet Empire, folks. The fall of the Soviet Union, they've been punishing and sanctioning Russia. And again, it's because Putin won't play their Western banking games. Right now, for those who love what's happening and want to see conflict and war, how would they like to see Russia, I don't know, on the outskirts of their town with tanks and nukes and helicopters and troops? Right? It's not an exciting prospect. You know, so these war hawks over here that just love the idea of going over there and causing trouble, you know. It's interesting, huh? They're the type of people who think, oh, this is nothing. Well, for those who think this is nothing, would China allow the United States and the United Kingdom to park nukes and new military bases on China's border? Right? Yeah. We've got enough problems with China. Do we want to antagonize them more? Well, don't we have enough problems with Russia? Do we want to really antagonize them some more? Now, earlier this week, of course, Turkey said, over my dead body. Well, short of saying that, Erdogan, the leader of the country formerly known as Istanbul, no, Turkey, Istanbul's a city. He said, no, it's not happening. Right? There's going to be a fight over this. But for now, we just need to understand that it is antagonization. Now, Sergei Lavrov, he's a big shot with the Russian military. He's kind of like the Joint Chiefs of Staff guy, only his command doesn't allow the wearing of lipstick, fishnet stockings, or high heels while in uniform. Same with painted fingernails and earrings, right? So Sergei Lavrov, he kind of sought to downplay the Finland and Sweden and their application into NATO. They've done that, right? But he and Putin have stressed that a response, folks, a response would definitely come to what is being done by Finland and Sweden. Here's the quote. Finland and Sweden, as well as other neutral countries, have been participating in NATO exercises, NATO military exercises for many years. That's what he said a few days ago. Right? He says NATO takes their territory into account when planning their military advances to the east, meaning heading towards Russia. So in this sense, there's probably not much difference. Let's see how their territory is used in practice in the North Atlantic Alliance. Right? This is a kind of a soft, nice guy tone compared to other Kremlin officials, folks, who have warned of nuclear buildup, preemptive nuclear war, et cetera, right? But Russia stated that if Sweden and Finland join NATO, that it would move its nukes closer to the two countries. Do Finland and Sweden really want Tsar bombs parked on their border? They're asking for it. Why, folks? Why? Why would they do this to themselves? Not to mention, Finland has had its Russian electricity and its Russian natural gas. It's being turned off. Interesting. Now, another thing that was a big deal, it used to be a big deal to NATO and the United States. It was called a no nuke region, right? In the Baltic zone, free nukes from the Baltic zone. Well, anyways, this is what they said, quote, there can be no more talk of any nuclear free status for the Baltic. And that's that sea way up north where Finland and Sweden, everyone's at. This is Dmitry Medvedev. He is now the deputy chairman of Russia's Security Council. The Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov added that Putin had already ordered the military to boost its forces opposite of what NATO is doing. So escalation, folks, escalation. They're pushing it. They're pushing it. Now, let me tell you why I'm not happy about what is going on, and I'm not rooting for Putin. Rooting for Putin. I'm not. But I'm seeing what's happening, and I know enough And this is what kills me. You and I, we see shit and we know what's going on. I'm not a degree. I don't have a master's or even a bachelor's degree in political science. Do I need that to see what's going on? Do I need to understand economics? Do I have to have a master's in economics? Do I have to have a master's in transportation? Right? And there are degrees in that sort of thing, folks. A family member of mine has a degree in maritime transportation. Yeah, it's interesting. You don't have to have that to see what's happening. You just have to understand, right? They decided to sanction Russia. F you, Russia, we're going to sanction you, man, for going in and ruining all of our money laundering efforts in Ukraine. Right? Whoops. They're like, we're going to punish you, Russia. You're going to be so sorry. You're now sanctioned. We're going to cut you off the SWIFT system. Ruble's going to crash. Well, folks, guess what? The ruble has hit a 7-year high, right? Because Europe is having to buy gas in rubles. That's right, folks. Putin is winning this. Yeah, take that, Russia. And then it's like, bam, back in their faces. I'm not rooting for the Putin, folks, but I knew Putin would win this game. I knew it. It's not hard to see what is going on, right? It's not hard to see. Biden is an idiot.
We're going to seize their yachts, their luxury homes, and other ill-begotten gains of Putin's kleptocracy. Kleptocracy and the guys who are the kleptocracies of Putin's kleptocracy.
Wow, I can't take any more of that. All right, Jolene, who's up next? What do we want to discuss coming from your side of the computer? We've got Latin America, preparedness. He says, oh, I'm ready for this one, man. He says, monkeypox has been reported in 20 countries, including the United States of America now. Yes, we have our one case of it confirmed, right? President Biden has ordered 13 million doses of the monkeypox Jim Jones juice. Lockdown possible with election looming. What are your thoughts? Well, apparently, if you're a butt pirate, the odds seem to be a little higher because apparently over in Europe, it seems to be spreading amongst the homosexuals. Now, it really is in the very beginning stages. It's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, I think it's well under 1,000 people, I think, that have got the monkeypox. And it looks like just a very nasty chicken pox, right? Anyways, I don't think anyone's died from it yet, or we'd be hearing all about it, right? And I've got some information on it. You know, I've got an opinion on it. I've got some thoughts, right? It's all over Europe. It was supposed to be hard to spread, right? Now, here's my thought on this, right? You mentioned the monkeypox Jim Jones juice, right? I wonder if the people that are getting monkeypox have gotten the cerveza bug Jim Jones juice and it weakened their immune systems, right? Let's get some facts here, right? The U.S. government, the DC scum, have purchased the vaccines ahead of time. So there is a vaccine already, but could that vaccine be mixed? Could it be a cocktail with the cerveza bug Jim Jones juice? Knowing that, there's no way in hell I would take that vaccine. Now, Gates has discussed this disease ahead of time, just like cerveza bug. Way to go, Gates. Way to like tip us off to what you're doing. And number 3, is it time to panic, right? A prominent infectious disease expert at Johns Hopkins University is telling us this virus is, quote, is spreading via physical touch. That's it. Everyone must wear gloves, no touching each other. And he also says it can spread through respiratory droplets under certain circumstances. Thank God we have experts to tell us what to do, folks. So go get your masks. Anything Dr. Fauci says, I'm sure we should just do as he says. No questions asked. Because they did such a good job of killing grandma and grandpa by the tens of thousands when cerveza bug madness broke out. Now, lockdown possible? You bet. Anything is possible. But once again, I want to draw your attention back. They have those doses already paid for. My concern is people who have taken the Jim Jones juice and have weakened immune systems. Already, they have weakened immune systems. Are they going to be the ones that it can just spread through in this country? That's a big question of mine. Is that going to spread around? Now, there were reports that the Jim Jones juice is producing autoimmune deficiency syndrome type effects. Not in everyone, just in some. Just like some people seem to get the blood clot thing. Some people seem to get myocarditis, pericarditis. Some people seem to have the strokes. And we ain't talking about the friendly kind of strokes that you get in the shower. No siree. There's different people being affected different ways. And so it's rather scary. Not the monkeypox itself, but what the consequences are going to be as a result of the damage done by screwing with people's DNA and reprogramming it. Yikes. Okay. Right. And seriously, folks, oh my God, 20 people, lockdowns, right? The World Health Organization is convening an emergency meeting after the UK cases have doubled to 20. Oh my God, they went from 10 to 20. Right now, get this, over the weekend in Chicago, I bet more people have been shot and killed by, scumbags, criminals, than people will die from monkeypox in the next month. How much you want to bet? Right? Just one day, Chicago is quite a fun zone, happy fun zone. But yeah, the World Health Organization is going to have an emergency meeting, which again ties into this push that the World Health Organization wants a treaty. The United Nations is creating a treaty, and they want the United States and other countries to adopt it. This cannot be allowed. Write your senators, your U.S. senators, whether they're Democrats or Republicans or rhinos or whatever, and say, nuh-uh, do not vote for that. You never give up. Never give up your sovereignty. Now, here's the deal. If the United Nations says you should do this, then we should be able to consider it for ourselves. We don't need to be part of an organization that demands things and says we overrule you. No. That's not how the Constitution works. You cannot overrule the Constitution with unconstitutionality, even if politicians agree. It's a fine idea. That's why we have a checks and balances system that ends, folks, not with the courts, but with the Second Amendment. Never forget, that is your final vote. That day is coming because there's idiots out there. All right. Let's see. No, we just asked you a question. I'm going to bring up some of my stuff now. You bet. Remember this guy? He worked for the Clinton campaign, Seth Rich. He ended up dying. Yeah, remember that guy? Worked for the Clintons when Bill was president, and he went to Marcy Park to take a nice walk. And, he felt really sad, and he shot himself in the head twice, back of the head. Yeah. Vince Foster. Yeah, Anyways, there's this guy named Mook. What a great name, huh? Mook. M-O-O-K. Mr. Mook. Well, Mr. Mook has testified that Hillary Clinton, old Cankles herself, Mr. Mook has testified that Clinton approved of the Trump-Russia collusion story and then sending it to the media. If I were Mr. Mook, I would not visit Marcy Park. If I were Mr. Mook, I would stay very close to people that could serve as witnesses to my assassination. This guy just Arkansided himself, right? But now here's the deal. He testified this in court, Mr. Mook, right? It sounds like the justice system, folks, has a chance to redeem itself and go after the big girl herself, right? Old bushel britches, old iron britches Hillary, right? But who is willing to bet that that's going to happen? That the courts are going to go after Hillary? I do not understand why anyone's afraid of these people. But then again, it's really not the Clintons that are powerful. It really isn't, folks. It's the people behind the politician that are always the power. Right? It wasn't LBJ that assassinated John F. Kennedy, JFK. It wasn't LBJ. Now, There's a lot of theorists who believe that LBJ was in on it and attended the meeting at Howard Hunt had. And then there were the Hunt brothers, or one of the Hunt brothers. And there were a bunch of oil tycoons in Texas and a bunch of other people that didn't like JFK, including, some people from the military, the Pentagon. And not to mention the mob. Not to mention, that's right, folks, the mob, the real mob was tied into all this. Not to mention the CIA. Ooh, yeah, Alan Dulles and gang. Not to mention that and this and the other. Yeah, there's a lot of people. It's the money. They were the power behind LBJ's ascension, his rise to power as the president. He was a stooge. He was a puppet. Kind of like Mr. Biden. He's a puppet too, right? People are pulling his strings. So Mr. Mook, right? He's outed Hillary. And Hillary is not the one to be feared, even though she can call for people to be, well, how do we use this word nicely? A lot of people have surmised, they've alleged that Hillary can have people take a vacation permanently. It's unbelievable, the power this woman has. But truly, it is the power behind her that is the power that she exercises. And it's conspiracy theory passe to mention families like Rockefeller and Rothschild. But it truly is Evelyn de Rothschild who is the direct benefactor to Hillary. That's her sponsor. That's her puppet master. I can't think of a more powerful person. Now, Mr. Mook, for his testimony, he better be careful, right? Exposing Kankle's Clinton is dangerous. He could suddenly die from taking the Jim Jones juice 12 times, or maybe get hit in the back of the head 3 times with the monkeypox holes. Wow. This week has really had some interesting shit happen. Well, let's see what you guys want to talk about. What's on your mind? We've got Kellen Mullahan. I've never read that name before. That's a pretty cool name. It's Kellen Mullahan. He says, "Hey, John, I'm 2021 NTI published Strengthening Global Systems to Prevent and Respond to High Consequence Biological Threats, a paper about monkeypox outbreaks starting on 15th of May, 2022. So, in 2021, you published Strengthening Global Systems to Prevent and Respond to High Consequence Biological Threats, a paper on monkeypox. That is fascinating. What I would like, Kellen, if you can, provide Jolene with a link to Amazon or your papers, wherever you're published. That would be fantastic. And again, I don't know how you came to the conclusions you came to write about this, the strengthening the global systems to prevent and respond to high consequence biological threats, right? Which I'm sure is about monkeypox and probably anything else like it, right? We've had the Ebola threat for quite some time. Cerveza bug and all its variants has become, quite the talk, obviously. Let's shut down the planet. Anyways, Kellen, thank you for letting me know that you, a Prepared Mind subscriber, are on the inside, kind of. Maybe you're off to the side, looking in. But whatever it is, you got some keen insights. He says, "Oh, no. Oh, it's not me, John. Oh, I didn't write it." You didn't write it. It's published by NTI. Okay. I just thought I saw a little space that says I published. No, NTI published. Okay. Is that the paper? Is that the paper that Bill Gates was talking about? Is that an organization that Bill Gates worked with? I think it could be, because he's been talking about other diseases and how, oh yeah, we're a bunch of fools if we don't listen to him. And by the way, Bill Gates also wants you to eat bugs and fake machine-made synthetic slime that they're going to call food. Now, here's the deal. How can we trust their synthetic crap goo made in a factory if we can't trust the government to stay the hell out of the baby formula business? Right? It's the government that shut that factory down. It's the government that stockpiled baby formula for its own use. It's the government that got in the way, kept that factory from reopening. It's the government who lied about it, and then finally this week signed some paperwork to expedite the production of baby formula, right? As part of, I guess, legitimate government power to ensure that companies get some stuff done. I think the last time we heard about that being done, it was President Trump telling either Ford or General Motors or both they needed to make ventilators for hospitals. And it's my understanding that the ventilators wasn't a good treatment. And in addition to that, ventilators, brand new, never used, were found, I guess, filling a freaking landfill down in Miami, Florida. It's, so this government, the experts, doctors, professionals, corporate leaders, can't trust them anymore. As if you ever could, right? Anytime a government says, buy my shit, you have to wonder, right? You have to wonder, what are these bastards selling now? Okay, let's move on. There's a headline that was called Build Blackouts Better, because, they're making fun of Biden. And Biden is a ridiculous dumbass, folks. He is. He's an absolute ding-dong. But he calls you and me extremists.
Because this MAGA crowd is really the most extreme political organization that's existed in American history.
They're calling them the mega MAGA crowd, the Uber, the super MAGA crowd. He calls us extremists. Yet this guy kills hundreds of thousands of jobs on the first day in office. He calls us extremists while leaving the southern border of the United States open. Would he like it if he lived on the southern border? Would he like that? And would he like it if the president opened that border on him? Now, here's what gets me. Doesn't President George W. Bush, doesn't he have his ranch at Crawford, Texas? I wonder if ex-President George W. Bush, I wonder if he's allowed to shoot illegals that enter his property. I wonder if he's got it fenced off with cyclone fencing and razor wire with notification in Spanish and English. Come on the ground, we shoot you. Anyways, Biden is a complete, total moron. And the joke now is, half of America, folks, half of America is facing power blackouts. Not brownouts, folks, blackouts this summer, right? Texas already had a warning. We're going to have rolling blackouts. The power regulators are saying we're going to have serious blackouts. Half the country, folks, only half. Try all of us, whether you're in Mississippi or Texas, whether you're in Pennsylvania or Montana or California. I think we're all exposed to this stupidity. And this summer, only this year, really? So, folks, California said for the next 3 years, 3, not 4, I had a finger pop there. Next 3 years. Well, hell, it may as well be the next 10 years. California, right? If they said 3, they mean 10. The next 10 years, as they transition the power grid on the West Coast to have more renewables. Didn't Texas prove that the renewables can fail together in unison? Yeah, they can. They absolutely can. Now, how's that possible, you say? I'll tell you how it's possible. One giant ice storm moving across the state of Texas can lay down a beautiful 1-inch thick coating of ice on all their solar panels and a nice 1-inch thick coating on all the blades of their wind turbines. I think something like that is what happened last winter. And they weren't able to make solar power or wind power. They had to shut it all down. See, I like renewables, especially if you live in the RMZ or someplace warm for solar. And if you have excellent southern exposure and you're an individual home, it just makes sense to me. Individual homes. I've had the RMZ, and I've known other people that have solar power. Years ago, back in the early 90s, I worked on a house that was solar power with propane, which is like natural gas, backup generator. It was really cool living off the grid, folks. I love it. But you can't run a country that way. Anyways, California says, yeah, for the next 3 years, we're going to be at risk. California's been at risk for years already. They've already had rolling blackouts come through and just crush the Bay Area, right? And then they were like, yeah, all the people in the Bay Area who have their Teslas, sorry about that. Sorry. We forgot you had electric vehicles and you can't just go fill up with gas. Unbelievable. In fact, it would kind of crack me up how Ford Motor Company was promoting the idea that their e-truck, you could light your house up on it in case there's a power failure. Well, see, rolling blackouts, well, they can be rolling, or you can just have pure blackout for a week or 2 days. See, the thing is, once the power goes out, you don't know. You don't know. So if you use your truck to power your house, well, number one, your truck has to be full when that happens. Number two, can your house run down your house runs it, right? Power is power. Now, it's great to have a supply of power. I get it, right? But they're really pushing everyone, folks. And by the way, California governor, Democrat, socialist, scumbag, tyrant Newsom, right? Democrat, has extended, folks, the Diablo Canyon nuclear power plant. And the leftists, the green weenies, are losing their shit. They've wanted to shut down Diablo Canyon. It's the last nuclear power plant in California. And Governor Newsom breathed some life into it. He's like, hey, you're allowed to stay open longer. We kind of need the power. And the left-wing lunatics are so stupid, folks, they would kill that power plant, which I think is around a gigawatt, which is 1,000 megawatts. Right? You can run your house on 10,000 kW, right? And then you get all the way up into megawatts and then all the way up into gigawatts, right? It's a lot of power. They're just stupid, folks. Oh, don't forget to buy your electric vehicle and then don't plug it in because there's no power. Thank you very much, right? We got nothing but total stupidity, folks. I mean, this is interesting. It's like deja vu in the world of primary elections, right? They're delaying the results in Allegheny County of the race between Dr. Oz and the other rhino, right? It seems like third world tactics. Now, this is important for us to understand how we need to continue to fight this. We need to call senators and call our congressmen. But on the local level, we need to be involved with local politics. Who votes for, who appoints, who nominates people that run for office, right? Because where rhinos control the local nomination and election processes, they're as good as Democrats, and they serve this uniparty theory, which is there's only one party, right? And the fight that you and I have to take back the Republican Party as the best chance we have to have a political party that can protect us, right? The Republicans are being shown many of these places time and time again to be sellouts to help the Democrats win office. In other words, folks, the Democrats have infiltrated the Republican Party a long time ago, and they've been constantly sabotaging it. And they've given their lives to being there, nominating rhino Republicans, pushing this centrist left bullshit. That's how we've gone from freedom. The Republican Party just keeps moving more and more and more and more over to the Joe Biden side of thinking, which isn't a whole lot of thinking. That's how we've gotten here. So we've got to get there and kick those people out and push everything right back in the hole, right, as far as Democrats go. Now, seriously, Dr. Oz is so hardcore that the Democrat rhinos don't want him, right? I guess so. Isn't that odd, folks? I mean, Dr. Oz, I think, is pro Jim Jones juice. It's terrible when he's the better of the two options, right? These neo-rhino scumbags, folks. We need to keep a close eye on them, and we need to get more involved, folks. More involved. Let's do this. Let's see what you guys want to discuss as we wind down this Friday free-for-all. And Yankee Watchdog says, John, it's every American's right to be arrested. At least that's what I said to the lady working for the Canadian Border Patrol just before they kicked me out of Canada. That's pretty good. I like that. It is your right to be arrested. And I know that you're bringing a little satire into this, Yankee, and I appreciate it. But truly, we as Americans have a choice. You can obey or you can disobey. So it's your right to disobey. It's your right to choose arrest. Remember that and understand that. I haven't talked about individual sovereignty in some time because a lot of the sovereign citizen movement, it's been lampooned, it's been discredited, it's been put down because some of their most radical people chose to make those decisions for themselves. And of course, they're called, domestic terrorists and stuff like that. But we have a choice, right? You can't be forced to do anything against your will. You always have the right, the ability to fight back, to resist. But there's a penalty for that. There's a consequence, right? If it gets so bad that you're like, there's no way in hell I'm doing that, then you have no choice but to resist with all your might, to face arrest. And while I'm not recommending anyone do anything harmful or dangerous, we're having this academic, satirical discussion. But we do have the right to be arrested. We have the right to fight back with all manner of intellect and force. We have both the First and Second Amendments, and that is why they want to take them away from us. See, they want to take away my ability just to discuss resisting arrest, just to discuss resisting obedience to unconstitutional edicts. It's just a discussion, but they want to take that away. Because if people aren't having these discussions, they won't recognize that they have the right to be arrested and they have the right to remain silent. And you can choose to abandon either of those, right? The case can be made, the point can be made that if we all resisted, would the government throw everyone in America in the jails? Well, there's not enough room, right? They proved that just the stupid idiots of Antifa and BLM rioting and breaking the law, they didn't have room in those jails for those people. They didn't have enough law enforcement to corral them, to control them. So if we, the people, decided, well, we'd like to be arrested, we could put an end to their stupidity in about 5 seconds. Now, if you decided to use force and deadly force, and you consider it a matter of life and death, right? Like if someone showed up and said, we're going to stick this thing in your arm right now, it's kind of a life and death decision for many of us. What are you going to fight back with? To what level will you resist? Right? Kind of like the United Nations saying, well, we had this treaty and the United States Senate ratified it. And they won't hear any discussion, folks, about our Constitution because they're the United Nations. In fact, we saw some of these freaking clowns somewhere in this country saying, oh, no, this building is run by the United Nations. Your right to film doesn't exist here. Your Constitution doesn't count because the United Nations has this building in America. And it's like, you know what? Take your foreign accent and shove it where the sun doesn't shine. I mean, folks, we need a lot more Americans saying that sort of thing. Nicely, not in a threatening way. But if the United Nations somehow gets a little bit of authority over us, will the blue helmets show up? And many people have got their scopes set to allow the right light to really see those blue helmets nicely. Now, here's another one. We have heard that health crisis is how they want to bring in the United Nations authority. That's funny. That's exactly how Bill Gates and the Democrats and the rhinos and Dr. Doom, the little man, that's how they got control of us. That's how Bill Gates and George Soros figured it out. They're like, we can use a healthcare emergency, whether it's cerveza bug or monkeypox, or how about mental health? There's a mental health problem with those people in the United States. I have heard folks, them say that guns are a health care crisis. The United Nations hates guns. So let me ask you this question. if the United Nations was given authority over the United States by the Senate, number one, someone needs to follow every one of those senators home and explain to them where the bear shits in the woods. Now, if the UN had this power, could they say that guns are a healthcare crisis and therefore we, the United Nations, are going to outlaw guns inside the United States of America? How well do you think that would go? Now, here's another question to ask. The United Nations claims to be the authority in healthcare emergencies. If they said everyone needs to line up and get the Jim Jones juice, will local police, will state police, will sheriff's departments, will they help the United Nations round up people? Once again, folks, there's a lot to be said for this argument. The understanding that a treaty cannot violate the Constitution. The Constitution can't allow a treaty that violates itself. Right? That is tantamount. That is how do we say, docucide? That would be the Constitution killing itself. That's not what the Constitution is there for. The Constitution is there to guarantee our republic. Guarantee it, even in times of emergency. So again, if the UN comes in and says everyone needs to line up and get their monkeypox juice, will law enforcement help them? Who's going to enforce it? Who's going to go door to door? Who's going to keep track of all of this? Are you going to have to wear a UN blue armband or wrist bracelet? You know, some little plastic thing on your wrist to prove that? I'm not taking that mark, folks. What if the UN says, hey, guns, they're a problem. It's a healthcare crisis in America with guns because so many people have decided to shoot back over the monkeypox juice that now guns are a problem. Will law enforcement, city police, county sheriff, state troopers, National Guard, will they help enforce United Nations unconstitutional laws that were allowed into this country by the U.S. Senate? Folks, if you help a mercenary army in this country, because that's what the United Nations is, it's a mercenary army. Right? It's a coalition. It's an alliance of a bunch of globalists that hate our country. That's what it is. Right? Armies have bureaucracy, folks. Armies have medical teams. Armies have supply lines. Armies have computer operators, in addition to having soldiers with guns on the front line and tanks, etc. They call them peacekeeping. Folks, let me tell you about peacekeeping. The surest way to get to peace is to kill every last enemy. When there's no enemy to resist, you have peace again. So the United Nations has peacekeepers. How do they achieve that peace? Ask yourself that. Will Governor Abbott in Texas, will Governor Ducey in Arizona, will Governor DeSantis in Florida allow their states to be overrun with United Nations dimwits speaking with their foreign accents, insulting our ears, our senses, and our Constitution? Oh, that would be where a lot of people would say, bring it on. And every hillbilly, every hood rat, every swamp billy, every redneck, every hick, every veteran that is for freedom and liberty would say, no, 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 no. We got our problems here in the United States of America, but you guys aren't going to be the solution. Not your final solution. Anyways, great topic, folks. Great topic. Unbelievable. We got Mike Lindacos. I haven't heard from Mike Lindacos in a while. Good to see you're back, man. Good to have you here. He says, anyone ever wonder why you were born right now in this specific time? The Bible says we are here to witness the times. Maybe we all agreed to come here to bear witness to the coming revelations. Now, it's an interesting topic. And we can go ahead and drop that out of the picture there, Jolene. this concept of spiritual nature, right? We were sent here. Did we choose to come here at this time? Is this truly the end times, or is this just another bad episode of an empire failing? Whether it is the biblical revelations and apocalypse, or whether it's just the falling of an empire, the transition to what comes next, or as the world or globalist leaders want their great reset. They want to control and reemerge as the power. You know, why was I sent here, right? Why was I born in the 1970s? Why are any of us here? That's one of those questions, right? That is the question. It's known as the great question, right? Or the great riddle. What is the purpose of life? You know, a lot of people believe that we're reincarnated. A lot of people believe you only live once. And some of those same people say you only live once, but you have to be born again. And it's like, okay, I got you. Yeah, now we're making sense. Life is tricky. Religion is tricky. Philosophy is tricky. Morality, right? Anything that can be argued away and argued with, right, becomes a matter of some confusion for people who aren't grounded. And I think that's what these people on the left want. They want us confused. They want us scared. They want us confounded with conflicting ideas and notions. I do, Mike, to answer your question. I think I'm here for a reason. I have discovered that my raison d'etre, my purpose, is to be right here. Now, I may have to go pound nails, or I may have to go dig with a shovel, or I may have to go roof a house. I may have to go and savagely conquer a jungle. You know, whatever it is, right, I was sent here to do. But I think this particular job here, secondary to the raising of my sons, has become the most important job that I have. Okay? That is my job. And I bear witness to everything that's going on. I do. That's really what's going on here, right? I'm bearing witness to it. I'm seeing it. I'm understanding it, and I'm saying we better get prepared, right? Life always has consequences. It always does. It's just sometimes the consequences are a choice between pizza or hamburgers. That's pretty lightweight stuff. Let's just say the choice is there's a blue tank coming down your street, you know, flanked by blue helmeted Nimrods. And you know why they're here. They're here to force you to do something you want, force death upon you. Your choices, right? Submit or fight. A lot of people are going to realize, you know, that that's their choice. That's what they're here to witness. That's what they're here to decide. We all get to decide, folks, what action we're going to take. Right? We can all make that pizza hamburger choice. The answer is obvious there. It's both. When it comes to how are you going to face the enemy, it's not so easy of an answer. Do I face them at my home, or do I go to a bug out location? Is there going to be a militia, a force of people to resist tyranny that great if it were to come to pass? And again, it's if it's going to come to pass. Very well could be that the extent of this is the threat of it, and that just the mere threat of it causes enough people to rise up and tell the government, oh, no, you don't. We're going to find out. We're here to witness it. You know, I've never wanted the apocalypse. I've never wanted shit to hit the fan. But here it is. And it's not an event. It's a process. Right? Kind of like stock market has been going down for 8 weeks now. Right? The top of the curve, right? The top of the Dow curve, it's flattened out, and now it's kind of heading down. We're going into some hard times. But it's not a one-day crash. It's not a one-day loss of all of our rights. They take little bits all the time, little pieces, and we're slowly being brought down to a level where we start resisting. We start fighting back. We were way the hell up here, and people didn't care. They're like, hey, my life is fine. I'm comfortable, making lots of money, yada, yada. Living the life, man, living the dream. But then, oops, cerveza bug. And people are like, hey, not real happy about that. And then, poof, right, the economy starts taking a shit. They're like, I don't like that very much at all. What do you mean I don't have rights? What do you mean the government can do this? right? And then poof, it comes down some more, right? Poof, 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 poof. At what point do people say, that's it? I'm not participating in this coming down anymore. Once again, I don't invite or incite violence the way Lori Lightfoot Beetlejuice, mayor of Chicago, does when she says it's a call to arms, because all of us LGBs, right, BSers, all the LGBSers, we're at risk here because once they outlaw Roe v. Wade, they're going to outlaw homosexuality. What a intellectual troglodyte would be my response to that. Unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable. You know, we've got a lot of stupid out there. Now, Twitter. I want to run over to Twitter. Twitter this week has been all over the place with the Elon Musk thing. Elon Musk has demonstrated that Twitter has excellent algorithms and programs for silencing people with a right-wing, pro-freedom, pro-constitution, pro-United States view. They can silence them pretty darn quick. Isn't that amazing? But somehow they couldn't develop a program that would find their bots and find their, shall we say, spam accounts and eliminate them. Because why? Oh, that makes them money. They were able to keep and maintain, probably even grow those to make sure Twitter was overvalued and they had a great stock value. And whoops, Jack Dorsey, I hope you get to go to and answer a few questions in court over that. Oh, yeah, folks. But anyways, they have they have a crisis misinformation policy. That's what they have, folks. They can stop crisis misinformation, but they can't stop fraud, defrauding advertisers and defrauding their shareholders. But they blocked the Hunter Biden laptop story, the laptop from hell. And they called Trump officials actual Nazis. Do you see where we're at? It's Free for All Friday. Do you see where we're at? Do you see how far we've come? Right? We're now being threatened with World War III. We're being threatened with the United Nations. We're being threatened with monkeypox. They're locking down again in New York City. They're putting the masks on the people, saying, oh, yeah, put them on. Even though, what did I read you? What did I read? Yeah. But the facts are that masks actually cause harm. Do they want to admit that? No. Do they want to? No, they don't, right? They're damaging us all the way down to the children, from teaching them, grooming them for sex, all the way down to kindergarten, right? And by the way, well over 100 teachers and teachers' aides have been arrested this year for molesting and assaulting and having sex with children. Yeah, we're supposed to trust these people. And then this week we also had a mom sue a school for indoctrinating her biracial son in critical race theory. She said her son sees things that don't go his way as racism, including chores at home, folks. Everything they do to us, our kids, our parents, our loved ones, our co-workers, everything they do to business in this country destroys, absolutely destroys things. Okay. So here we are. It's the Friday free-for-all. We will be back Sunday for Sunday Night Live at 6 p.m., folks. 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll see you for Sunday Night Live. Bring your drinks, bring your beverages, bring your questions. We're going to have a good deal of fun, a great time there. It's always a hoot. And you got to have as much fun as you can. I know what shit is hit the fan. I know it, right? I know it's going to get worse. I know what they're threatening us with, right? Potential nuclear war. Well, alien invasion. We didn't even talk about that on the free-for-all. There's so much to talk about. We'll pick this up. We'll pick up this conversation on Sunday Night Live and go with it as we look forward into the next week and the month and year, as we look forward into the election season. We'll talk about what's coming. I want to thank you guys, though, especially here on Patreon. because you support this channel, this network, our research. You keep the lights on and fresh cans of Spam in the pantry. I hope that you do the same for yourself as well. Make sure you're well stocked with food, folks, because they're telling us. They warned us, they're promising us, and they're taking actions to make sure that only those who are prepared are going to get through this very well. Everyone else is going to suffer. I don't want to be one of those. Chance favors the prepared mind. Is yours. Godspeed. Semper Fi.